Hey, listen up. We got another episode of Wisecracks featuring the crack man himself, Bill Krackomberger, and our co-host, Jon Orlando, straight from Las Vegas. Wisecracks is your ticket inside the world of sports betting with tips, picks, special guests, and more. Only on WSN.com.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 2, season 2 of Wisecracks. I am your co-host, Jon Orlando. On Wisecracks, as you know, we cover all things sports betting related with the man himself, Bill Krackomberger. Bill!
Hey!
Good to see you this week again.
Good to see you, too.
What a week we had in football last week. We got a lot going on to cover again, as always. And we had a big week in football last week. There's some great matchups coming up this week. Obviously, the World Series just got underway, and we've got an incredible guest lined up for today. A very good friend of mine, longtime friend of mine, Mr. Coco Crisp, is going to join us a little later in the show.
That's awesome. Listen, most people know, but for those that don't, I love baseball. I grew up with baseball. Going to games at Shea, going to games at Yankee Stadium. That was my thing to do. You could just pop on the subway for, 50 cents, literally 50 cents, and go over to catch a game. And I love it. It's in my blood. If you're an East Coast guy, New York, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania, this is you can go across to any of these blue collar, hard working towns, the Clevelands, the Kansas Cities, Chicago. Baseball's in our blood, man. I can't wait. I look forward to talking to them. I
love that baseball is your number one sport because I'm right there with you, which I don't know if you've seen. I've got a new little setup here. I got some memorabilia. This is not just stuff from Dick's Sporting Goods, Krack. I got the real deal here behind me. That jersey right there, the Dodger jersey. Number 16 is my dad's favorite number, and that jersey, believe it or not, Krack, and you've seen my dad. He's put some pounds on since the TV show in the 70s, as we all do as we get older. And he wore that jersey in Hollywood Stars Night at Dodger Stadium in 1984. And I remember him saying to me in the locker room as he was getting dressed, "Jono, I got to lose some weight." He actually thought he needed to lose weight at 31 waist and wearing I don't know what size that is, but I can't fit it. I've tried it on. I can't even put it on.
Wow, you have some great memorabilia, some great memories there with your dad. So let's guess that you must be rooting for the Dodgers in the World Series.
Man, you got that right. It's been I don't even remember, 88. I mean, I was a senior in high school the last time we won it all. And I'm 50 now, so this is the year. Even though I've said this is the year for the last 4 or 5 years, I think this is the year.
Yeah, no. Let me just tell you something. Being a New York fan of the Mets and Yankees when I was a kid, that was my allegiance back then. Unfortunately, now I have no allegiance. I have no problem betting against either one of them. But I remember they were the Met killer. As a matter of fact, the more I think about it, I was at a playoff game in 88 when the Dodgers beat the Mets. I think it was the Mets. I think it was 88.
The
Mike Mets won, the Mets won the World Series in 86.
Yep.
And the 88, they were playing and the Dodgers beat them.
We knocked them out. That's absolutely right. Mike Scioscia, who never hits home runs, hit a big home run. I believe it was in New York. And I think it was even off Gooden, maybe.
Wow.
But yeah, that was a crazy series. And that was a crazy year for the Dodgers, because I don't know if you remember, obviously that's the year of the Kirk Gibson home run. But Mickey Hatcher was our cleanup hitter. We won the 1988 World Series with Mickey Hatcher as our cleanup hitter, Krack.
It's funny you say about Doc Gooden, giant Mets fan. And I got to meet him last year and got to be friends with him. So I'd like to get him on here. I don't know if he'd come on, but I would love to get him on because I've talked to him about 3 times since then. Listen, I love Doc Gooden.
He was so good. I remember going to Dodger Stadium and watching those games. And back then, now it seems like every team has multiple guys that throw 100 miles per hour, 98 to 100 miles per hour. But back then you had Doc Gooden, right? You had Clemens, you had Gossage, and maybe J.R. Richard if you go back far enough.
The
and
Astros, yeah.
I think in the Nolan Ryan, and that's about it, right? It's like the flamethrowers were not in every team thing.
I got to throw Ron Guidry in there. Sorry.
For sure.
That's my New York roots there.
Ron Guidry was a lefty, right? Was he a lefty?
I'm almost positive he was.
Yeah. Those Yankees had some great teams.
Louisiana Lightning. Yeah. Good stuff.
Was that his nickname?
Yes.
I love that. You're but now you have no allegiance. That upsets me.
Listen, honestly, people sometimes quiz me and say, well, how can you not know the players on the teams? Well, because that's your job out there, guys. You guys know the players of the teams. I know which way the line's going and the analytics behind it and the picks. Sorry. And by the way, that helps you guys. That helps the public, So,
Krack, are you proud of me? I bet on the Dodgers when they were down 2-0 in that last series.
Wow. And you took a price.
I did. Yeah. It was good.
No, that's good. That was good. When you have a powerful powerhouse team like the Dodgers, and they've been the best team in baseball all year. Let's face it. So it was amazing that it actually came down to a Game 7.
Yeah, and I heard a crazy stat, and I hopefully I have this right. I believe I heard this is the first year since 1913 where the two best teams with the two best records are playing each other in World Series. Is that possible? Do I have that right?
That's almost hard to believe. That's 107 years. It's almost hard to believe, but I believe it. Yeah. Wow. That's interesting. Usually there's always upsets. I mean, that's the reason why we bet underdogs. I mean, there's always upsets. You're always taking a price. And I actually thought this is going to be the first time you probably heard this. I thought the taking the plus 190 here in Vegas on Tampa Bay was a good price on the underdog here. So obviously I should have waited until after the first game when Kershaw coming out pitching almost a gem. Considering people were down on him. People were like, oh, man, he's done. That's it. He had a good career. I mean, he was striking out people left and right.
He looked great. In Game 1. Let me ask you, you bring this up, and I'd like to talk about this because I find myself defending my UFC picks a lot with people. And what you just brought up about betting on the Rays to take it all at plus, what was it? Like plus 190? Plus 190. So here's my opinion, and tell me if you agree with this. There's who do you think is going to win is different than who should you bet on, right? And I think this is one of those cases is why you're bringing up the Rays. Am I right?
John, you shocked me here saying this. You're spot on. Absolutely correct. Who do you think is going to win versus who do you think the value is on?
Right.
That's 100%. It's the way that you should actually choose your games. It's the way that people should think kind of outside the box, taking that emotion and the fan favorite out of the equation.
Right. Because I always get grief. Like every time Jon Jones fights, whoever he fights is like plus 500 or higher. So, and to me, it's like, the law of averages at some point, especially in the fight game, fighters other than Floyd, you lose. Eventually you lose. So it's like every time Jon Jones fights, I always circle whoever he's fighting. And people slide into my DMs. They're like, are you an idiot? Jon Jones is going to, I'm like, yeah, I know John. It doesn't mean I really think Jon Jones is going to lose. But if he does lose, you get paid.
Let me tell you, John, I'm always very open and about my bets and what I've done in the past and both ways. I'm a loser when it comes to betting against Floyd. I bet more times against Floyd than I did on him. And then that includes at the end, when he fought the UFC fighter, the Irish guy. You have to tell me his name.
Conor McGregor.
Oh, yeah, McGregor. I'm not a giant UFC fan like I should be.
We're gonna fix that, but it's okay.
No, I mean I like it now a little more, but I just forgot. I know he's coming. He has an upcoming fight actually too. But so that fight, I bet $15,000 on Floyd. So including that $15,000 win, definitely down money every time Floyd fought. You can get a good price sometimes here in town. Just thinking offhand, Oscar De La Hoya, which, by the way, put up a great fight against him. I bet him. There's so many dogs I bet against Floyd. I'm definitely have down money betting against Floyd. So I fully understand.
So being that you're not an avid UFC fan, if we could just talk UFC for literally 20 seconds right now, because there's a huge fight coming up this weekend. Khabib Nurmagomedov is undefeated. He's like 25-0 or something ridiculous. He's fighting Justin Gaethje. And I just looked it up as you were talking. Justin Gaethje is plus 275. And I just want everyone to know in sports betting land, I'm all over it. Justin Gaethje's going to KO Khabib round 1. You heard it here.
Yeah, this particular fight, I actually do know about. I've done some research on this fight because someone else asked me to comment on it. And, listen, I do get to watch a lot of the fights. I go over to my friend's house who's a giant UFC and boxing fan, and I will go over and watch the fights there. This sounds like, let's just face it, Khabib's like the best grappler out there. And if he gets it to the mat, I think it might be a little bit different of a result. But I'm not laying that kind of wood either. So
I don't blame you. And then you mentioned upsets a few moments ago. How did I screw this up, Krack? Last week, I even said to you, when you look at the teams that still haven't won a game in the NFL, like the Jets, Atlanta, and I'm blank on whoever the third one was at the time. And I said, are you looking at those games? Is this the week one of those teams is going to win? And of course, Atlanta comes out and wins the game, and they didn't have a dime on it. What is wrong with me, Krack? How did I screw this up?
Well, it's any given Sunday. Anything can happen. Atlanta they were looking terrible. They come out and look really good. So this is going to happen. I know I'm like a broken record saying this about NFL sides. I really don't do a lot of NFL sides betting, and the reasons are exactly that. Any given Sunday, anything can happen. You had an 0-5 Giant team favored over Washington. It came down to the last seconds in that game also. Washington going for 2 and failing at the end. So, like I said, it's just the public loves betting, and they love betting against those type of teams too. So the bookmakers are going to add some extra juice or extra point on the other side of that because they know the way the public's going to bet.
And that's right. You just reminded me of who the third team was that hadn't won yet. It was the Giants. And of course, I blocked that out of my head. That's why it escaped me, because like an idiot, even though I brought it up last week to you on that those are the ones I wanted to bet, I took the Washington and all my parlays that I'm not supposed to bet on.
When you say parlays, you mean the money line? You took the money line?
No, well, sorry. Yeah, I had the money line.
Okay, yeah, because if you took the points, you'd be a winner.
Right. No, I don't like taking the points. I'm a money line. I hate watching these games. I know you don't watch them. Maybe that's what I need to start.
I do. I actually do watch them a little bit on the weekends, though. But just to let you know, and this is all for the fans out there too, for the public out there. If you're going to not take the points and just choose to take the money line, just know you're actually going to pay a bigger vig, because most of the times the books, especially the Euro books that have entered the United States, which is, let's just face it, there's more money in those Euro books coming in than there are here in Las Vegas. So especially with the Euro books, they're going to charge you extra juice on money lines. It's just not my favorite thing to do, because you're paying more juice than you would on a straight bet. But that being said, because I have so many different places to bet, I'll go from app to app to app here in Vegas, looking at all the money lines, and you'll see a difference, from one book to another. So sometimes you could catch a good dog on the money line.
Right. And would you ever consider betting a favorite with the money line, or no chance?
Years ago, it was just almost basic strategy that you could, believe it or not, this is not no more though, but believe it or not, you could actually bet the money line on any double-digit team in any home double-digit team on the NFL, and that was a winning strategy. Not so much anymore, but it was years ago. I know a whole syndicate group, a sports betting syndicate group, that made a lot of money doing that.
Really?
Yes.
And Bill, let me ask you this. What are you, the over and under trends? Last week, you gave me a winner. You told me Cowboys in the under. Well, the under in the Cowboys game, I should say. And
listen, all of them, to be honest with you, you're hitting on a primetime game. It's, I've been saying this across many different programs and formats. You're 100% right. I have been talking about this. It's going to return to the mean. I think the unders were 10-4 last week. I've been saying it on our show and other shows. Listen, these bookmakers aren't going to continually get slapped around by all these overs coming out. They're going to add points to the totals. They started doing it. This is the second weekend now. I can't tell you how many primetime games have went under in a row. And it's the exact opposite of what happened 3-4 weeks ago when every primetime game was going over and the overs were hitting at, 65%. So it's not happening no more. Returning to the mean. And I noticed it with the lines this week. We're going to have more of a balanced over-under week.
Okay. And now a couple other things I think we should just go over real quick. What's going on in Dallas, man? My Cowboys are falling apart at the seams. I thought even with Dak's injury, I'm a big the Cinderella story works. So I kind of thought we would be looking at remember when Drew Bledsoe got hurt and then in stepped Tom Brady, right? And I kind of thought maybe that's what we're going to see with Dalton. And that's not what happened.
Yeah, I even said on our show, this guy's got over 100 starts. Crafty veteran in the NFL. And I thought Dallas was, listen, I played a teaser with Dallas. I thought that Dallas was a nice bet at home with over the 7 points, the 7.5 or 8. And I was wrong. I mean, they look terrible. Oh God.
Now, they looked horrible. It's almost unwatchable. It was, I didn't watch it, to be honest. I turned away. It was too bad. I couldn't take it. The Jets, people tell me this and I refuse to believe it because I like to think that teams are still professional, but the Jets are definitely looking for that number one pick. And they're, how can I say it? They're not really interested in winning football games, right? I mean, they have looked terrible. God, it's just amazing. The old the old fan in me back home, I like to think of the fireman in the stands and, rooting for the Jets and the guys dressing up in the green and white. I just don't know what's going on with the Jets. I really don't. Maybe you're right. I hate to say they're playing for a number one draft pick, especially if you haven't reached the halfway point of the season, but you never know. They may be. Yeah. And now, of course, this week they'll probably go out and, they'll throw up 4 touchdowns in the first quarter, and I won't have anything on it. But the Patriots are not the same without Tom Brady, are they?
No, they're not. They're not. And they were on a national stage here. They were on a lot of networks across the country. That was like one of the main games last week. And they certainly aren't the Patriots of old. But you would think with Cam back in there, he's really he did some good scramble. I watched the game. I actually watched the 3 quarters of that game, and I just again, same thing there. I just don't know what's going on with the Patriots. I thought they were going to come out a little bit stronger with Cam and the team there, but it looks like maybe they might have made the wrong move without giving Brady, but by not giving Brady the money they should have.
And speaking of which, Brady's new team looks pretty damn good, don't they?
That was to be real blunt, that actually shocked me.
Really?
I go by late line moves too. People don't know this. Maybe 90% of people don't know this. That game moved to 3 at game time. Solid 3 at all the books in the world, 20 books. It was a solid 3. It was 1.5 in the morning when I woke up Sunday morning, but all Packer money coming in there, all Packer money line money. It seemed like coming in there. The books, I always want to say the books clean up when a team like the Packers lose, but fan favorite Brady, I don't know the actual outcome. It may have been kind of even on that game.
I don't know if this is because I'm a Cowboy fan and I'm supposed to just hate the Steelers because I keep picking against the Steelers, and it seems like maybe I need to stop doing that after this past week.
Yeah, but to be honest with you, the Browns were the sharp side up until game time. And I say sharp side. I know a syndicate group that came in was betting the Browns plus 3.5. Line went down to 3. Actually, by game time, it creeped up back to the 3.5. So, I only go by the money which way it's coming in. Looks like some back and forth money there. I thought the Browns were going to hang with them. Another thing, another trend I'm noticing, and it happened in that Browns game. I noticed the first half of the game, of a lot of these games are going over, and the teams that are winning pretty they're winning by 3 touchdowns or something like that game, like some other games too. Listen, it's supposed to be incorporated in the line that they're going to run the ball more and use the clock more. Well, I'll tell you, it's been a winning situation, just like that Pittsburgh game, over first half, under second half. So I look for that trend to continue, and I look for maybe same thing with the Green Bay game. The Green Bay game, they were way on an overpaced first half. Yep. Tampa was beating them up maybe 28-10 or something at the half. and they didn't even score. They scored a couple points in the second half, another under. So just a spontaneous thing I just thought about there. It may continue when these teams are up by so much. Like I said, the line at the half is supposed to be in that line already, but I don't know if it is, especially on those big fan games with the big teams like Tampa and Green Bay. People always love betting over. I don't know if they're actually skewing it to the under a little bit like they should be. It's something I'm going to be watching the rest of the season and probably betting on and sending out to my guys.
Hey, everybody, before you make your picks for the week, be sure to hit up WSN.com for all the latest matchups, odds, and the best sportsbook bonuses anywhere online. We've got a great contest you can enter every week with our free-to-play NFL Pick'em contest and a shot at Amazon gift cards worth up to $200. I love a free roll. Who doesn't love a free roll? Be sure to go to WSN.com and check it out.
Great site. Love it.
Krack, I'll tell you something else I love is you're making me look good. You want to know why?
Why?
Because I sent 3 very good friends of mine, little sports betting degenerates like my buddy Parlay Paul out there in New Orleans. And I told him, download the KrackWins app, and that should become your Bible. And I'm trying to tell him how we need to get away from betting parlays all the time. And the winning picks are in the KrackWins app. That's where he needs to go. And he sent me a thank you. So listen, everybody, go check it out. Check out the KrackWins app. He doesn't like talking about it. He doesn't like when I embarrass him like this, but download that app. It is the sports betting Bible. Go check it out.
I will tell you, thanks, John. I will tell you that, especially for your friend, a first-time person that comes there, you should actually check out the app, the articles, the bankroll management articles, the articles on the mindset of a professional sports bettor. Very important to be in that mindset, not just a fan of the game and just want to bet your favorite team and, bet your parlays. Parlays, listen, I stay away from parlays because I know the juice. I know how hard it is just to win, one game. Never mind, you want to win 2, 3, 4, 5. But I know all the fans out there, I know you guys love to bet parlays. You love to bet money line parlay on 3, 4, 5 teams, all favorites. And you say, wow, this looks so easy. And at the end, I know exactly what happens. I guarantee this has happened to a lot of people out there. Oh, man, I just missed by 1 game. Of course you did. That keeps you coming back to the window. Oh boy.
Guilty as charged.
I know it's not you, it's everybody. It's the reason why these sports books can stay in business, make the money they do. It's the number one reason. Parlay cards, parlays. It's probably the biggest sucker bets out there. Sorry.
But those payouts, those possible payouts,
of course,
they look so nice.
Yeah, of course. It's like when you go to the crap table and you want to bet the aces and midnight 6-6 and the
it's my favorite bet, Krack. 30-1, 31-1. Come on.
30-1. This looks
Sign
great.
me up.
Oh, this looks great until you realize that it should pay 36-1 and it's double digit house advantage against you. But you don't look at that. You look at it, man, let me get that great payout. Yes. And you're screaming and yelling. And trust me, oh man, I just missed by 1. I'm good at this. I picked 5 out of 6. Okay. You picked 5 out of 6 4-1 favorites. Congratulations.
He's got me. He's got me dead on. All right, Krack, it's time for us to go to our interview with Coco Crisp. We sat down with him earlier, and he's got the coolest name in baseball. Here's what he had to say.
It's a real pleasure to welcome our guest to the show today, and the timing couldn't be better with the World Series just getting underway. This guy was an incredible outfielder, a leader, and one of the last true base stealers in the game. A World Series champion with the Red Sox. I loved watching this guy play, John. Welcome, Coco Crisp.
Who didn't love watching that guy play? Come on, and he's got the coolest name in baseball history. What's up, Coco?
Hey, what's up, fellas? Glad to be here.
Thanks, man.
I have a question for you. With game 1 just happened last night. I want to know, what did you think? Actually, I want to know, do you even watch baseball now that you're retired? Do you watch the World Series?
Yeah, I watched the World Series. I didn't really watch the entirety of the playoffs, but I caught it here and there. Most of the time it's just kind of replays that things that happen just to kind of keep up. But once the World Series comes on, then I dial back in.
Coco, you played in the majors for 14 years, including 6 trips to the playoffs and 2 trips to the World Series. The postseason kind of feels so different on TV. The tension with each bat, each pitch. What about you as a player? Obviously, you feel the pressure, but when you were in the box, did it feel different than other games, or was it you versus the guy throwing the ball and just your job to get on base?
Yeah, that's a really good question. When I first started my journey with the playoffs, into the playoffs, it was a learning curve. It was a learning curve because it is the magnitude of the games is different than just regular season, right? You get comfortable. I think start of spring training, you're a little nervous. Start of the season, you're a little nervous, and then in the playoffs, you're a little nervous. So like the beginning of each segment, you're nervous. Early in my career, when I was my first games in the playoffs, I put too much oomph on it. It's like you said, it's really you just stepping in the box, knowing who you are, and being yourself. But a lot of guys try to be more than they are, especially earlier in their career when they're first making it into the playoffs. And that's exactly what I did. The biggest thing that helped me out was just breathing. Just like if you're going in front of a big group and you're going to give a speech, sometimes that stuff can get jumbled up in your head if you just don't take your time and remember to breathe. So that's the hugest thing as far as calming yourself down. Breathe, allow your mind to work, stay within yourself, have your game plan. And if you forget to breathe, all that stuff gets jumbled up in there, and then you start thinking about things that really don't matter. So breathing really helped me out later in my career.
Wow, fantastic answer. Thanks for your candor.
I got a question for you, Coco. I'm all Dodgers all the time. Cody Bellinger wins the MVP last year, and then he changes his batting stance this year. Is that crazy, or does that make sense to you as a player? Like, okay, I would think don't fix it if it ain't broke. But what are your thoughts on that?
No, I'm with you. I'm with you. Those are tough situations, and I made adjustments when it was broke, which seemed to be really often on my right side. On my left side, it was fine. I stuck with it. If it's not broke, like you said, don't try to fix something that ain't broke. And you win the MVP, obviously your best player in baseball, hitter wise, and then you go and change your batting stance. That's very difficult to do. But in the game, if people are making adjustments on you from year to year, at bat to bat, pitch to pitch, you got to figure out a way to be successful. And maybe he did some research and found out that, or during the offseason, he worked on something and he wanted to see if it worked. And he found out that it was working for him and try to stick with it. But now doing that, it gives him a couple different options to go back to where he was and maybe learn something a little different and implement it.
Got it.
Fantastic. Coco, you led the AL in stolen bases in 2011. The stolen base has really become a lost art, and more than the running game, it really has become a lost strategy, really, in baseball. You had to enjoy like Mookie Betts last night, swiping a few bags. I really enjoyed it. What do you think about all the analytics? And do you think that baseball, do you think that bunting and the running game will eventually come back to baseball or not?
I hope so. It's a huge part of bringing runs across the plate. Honestly, you get a base hit, you steal a base. Now you're in scoring position. You bunt, move a guy over in scoring position. I think nowadays they don't want to give up that out. So analytics do come into it, similar to like the NFL with extra points or going for the 2-point conversion versus a field goal and going for it on fourth down. So analytics are coming into play a lot. I like the old school thought process more so than spin rate and everything that goes into to analytics. Is more for me taking advantage of what's there. And it's just more the eye test for me than looking down on a piece of paper. Now, each has its place. Analytics does have its place. I'm not just going to neglect the thought process that goes behind it and all the work and diligence that people put in to make those numbers work. But at the same time, when you're in between the lines and you're playing the game, you have a knowledge of game time experience that the analytics, it doesn't account for sometimes. And so I'm that old school type of player where stay within yourself, do the homework on the pitchers, know his out pitches, different things that make you successful. But going back to the base stealing, I was co-base base stealer leader, however you want to put it, the champion that year.
Okay.
I didn't quite win it. Gosh,
All right.
but
I like
so
saying
close,
you led.
close.
Cool. Thanks.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
All right.
I'll take it.
Coco, what do you do now that you're retired? What's a typical day in the life of Coco Crisp?
Well, obviously, it's a little different now with COVID going on. So it's a lot more stay at home and have Zoom calls. I'm coaching at Cerritos College. I'm assistant coach over there. A friend of mine played up until AAA. We played Little League together. He's the head coach. He got the head coaching job last year. First African-American head coach in Cerritos history, which is pretty cool.
Wow.
But he got the coaching job over there and asked me if I can go over there and help him out. And so I went over there and gave him some whatever advice and experience I had at the big league level, try to help out the kids. So that's the majority of my time outside of the household. Then I have my four kids. My daughter's playing basketball in college at Calabasas High. And then my boys, they play baseball, and my second oldest boy, or my third oldest, he plays basketball and baseball. So it's a lot of time spent traveling to watch their games and trying to teach them how to play basketball and baseball. So it's just more like family life, just basically a teacher, basically a sports teacher.
And part two of my question, sorry, Krack, part two of my question. So you just mentioned Calabasas. What happened to that monster estate that you had down in the desert? You still have that?
Yeah. So I know you're trying to buy it off of me. No. But
if I could put like $1 down and pay you $1 a week or something, can we work a deal? Come on, help out Johnny O.
Yeah. I know, right? No, it's on the market for sale. It's a massive home out in Rancho Mirage, Palm Springs area, and right now it just rented out, and it kind of is paying for itself. But yeah, it's on the market. We moved into Calabasas. A little more, not taking anything away from the desert, but Los Angeles baseball or athletics and the schooling is a little more challenging out here, and I want to put my kids in more of a challenging type of environment.
Cool. Coco, you played in Boston and Cleveland. Cities like that, they like live and die with their baseball. I always think like blue collar, hardworking cities, but they love their baseball too. What was it like to be surrounded by that passionate fandom, I guess I would call it? Did it add to the pressure, or did it just make more fun to get out there and perform for them?
Well, if I would have started out in Boston, I think things would have been a little different for me as far as the pressure that goes into playing in Boston. But I was fortunate enough to come up in Cleveland, where there was a lot of veteran guys. Yeah, Omar Vizquel, Tome, Ellis Burks, the coaching staff, Eddie Murray was there, and they helped me develop my mentality for the big league atmosphere, amongst other guys that were there that were veteran ball players. So when I got traded over to Boston, I had the mental preparation to be able to deal with all the questions and going out. And I mean, when you go out in Boston, you better be ready for a conversation, right? It's just not going out shopping for shoes or clothes. You're gonna talk baseball, like because everybody knows who you are intimately, So it's just like everybody's your best friend. They come up to you, they talk about baseball or just you and your life. Like, we've had a relationship for a long time, which was fun. I really enjoyed it out there. I had a great time in Boston. I love the people, the fan base. They were great to me out there. And prior to that, I've heard, stories good and bad. And it was like, prepare for this, prepare for that. But when I was there, it was really nice. The atmosphere out there is with all the buildings, very nostalgic, and it was a great place to live. I ended up buying a house out there. I sold it because I ended up moving to a different, I ended up getting traded, but I ended up buying a house out there because I really enjoyed it.
Awesome.
Okay, Coco, let's talk about something important. Okay. I'm a car guy. I know you've had some sick rides in the past. I know you got kids. I'm sure there's a van over there or something, but please tell me there's at least one fat whip that would make Johnny O jealous. What are you rocking right now these days?
Yo, I've got so tamed. I'm so tame now.
No.
It was back in the day when we had different gigs or my lifestyle was in family. It was a little bit more crazy for sure. And I had my Rolls Royce, I had my Mercedes, and I mean, I pretty much had almost Bentley. I had every car, which is probably the dumbest thing that you could do as an athlete, just invest in vehicles. But now it's the Tesla. I do have the big Mercedes van, the Sprinter, custom, all decked out for when we take family road trips. But now it's all Tesla, like the SUV or the sedan. I ride the sedan. Wife rides the SUV. But that's just and to be honest, out of all the cars that I've owned, the Tesla is the best car.
Everybody says that, man. Everybody I know says that. Car.
Yeah, so I'm real tame now, unfortunately. You know,
all right.
I'm daddy now.
All right, Coco. Thanks so much for joining us, and we will talk to you later. Well, that was awesome talking to Coco Crisp, was it not?
Fantastic, man. Like I said, baseball's my thing, and he was one of my guys.
Yeah, he was great. He was fun to watch for sure. All right, Krack. This week in football, let's talk. I got a lot on my mind here. There's a handful of games that I'm looking at. I want to see what the Krack man has to say about what my picks are this week. Okay.
All right.
Let's open up with the Bills at the Jets. Now I know we talked about the Jets earlier, and I am a sucker for the parlay and a dog and a straight up dog that might catch a squirrel catches a nut. But it's not going to happen this week. It's not going to happen. The Bills and giving the points. Right, it opened at I think 12.5. I think right now it's maybe 13.5. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yep, that's right.
Okay. I've told you before, I don't like betting the spreads, but come on, the Jets. Come on, Krack. It's not going to happen. Listen to me, people at home. Mortgage the house on the Buffalo Bills and thank me later. What are your thoughts, Krack?
Well, listen.
How's that for bankroll management?
Yeah.
Mortgage the house.
Mortgage the house. I mean, that's such a strong word for me.
Do you have a spare room just in case this goes south for me?
Yeah. Sure. I can put you in the casita for sure. Mortgage in the house and lock. Those words are not in my repertoire of words. So and mortgage the house and thank me later. Is that what you said? Oh God.
Too much?
Ooh. But
degenerate party of one. Your table's ready. Degenerate party of one. Last call.
Yeah. No, I understand that it's and by the way, you're on the right side of the line, and the line did move up a little bit, and maybe people are thinking that. But I want to tell you something. Don't be shocked when teams like this situation has happened so many times, and like the Bills like literally lose outright. I mean, it's like, but I guess this Jet team that's maybe playing for that number one draft, it may not happen, but anything can happen in the NFL. And listen, you don't want to put more than 2% on any one given bet. NFL sides, I put less, but hey, John, as long as you're having fun, though, I guess. Keep that money machine rolling, baby.
People at home, don't listen to me. Listen to Krack. Don't mortgage the house. Bad plan. All right. Okay. Yeah. Bet with your head, not over it. Right. That's right. Yeah. All right. We got Jacksonville at the Chargers. The game opened up at -10. Now it's at 7.5. Yeah. Listen to me. This is the battle of the underachievers. Okay. I'm going to take Jacksonville and the money line all the way to the bank, Krack, with this one. They're plus 320, okay? Until the Chargers can prove to me that they know how to win in that new stadium that they don't belong in, I'm rolling with Jacksonville. What do you think?
Yeah, that's a really nice payout. And I'll tell you what, this actually, your stock goes back up a little here, John.
Really?
Yes, because I'll tell you why. It takes a certain sports bettor. Most people will not bet double-digit favorites. Our dogs are on the money line. Now, this is now 7.5, this line, but or 8. That's a little bit of a ballsy play. Good for you. Most people won't do that. And I notice I'm looking at my screen here where I actually shop around lines. You could actually even take a little bit more than that. So if you shop lines, you can get a little bit better juice. And good for you taking that. Listen, I know the Jags have looked like the worst team in the NFL. Actually, the Jags have looked like the worst team in the NFL, not named the Jets. Sorry. But yes, and the Chargers blew the Monday nighter versus Saints and had a bye last week. So the early money moved the line about 3 points, 2.5, 3 points to the dog here. So I think your head is definitely in the right place, and it could be close. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully, I'm rooting for you this game. But if anything, I would probably look to take the hook at 7.5 or on the game. But I'm going to be rooting for your money line pick.
Okay. All right. I love it. Last but not least, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what the bookmakers are thinking on this one. The Bears at the Rams. It opened at 5.5. Now it's 6. The Bears are good, man. They're 5-1 and they're getting points. What is going on? This is crazy. When you beat someone like the GOAT, Tom Brady, it does something mentally for you, I believe. And I think the Bears are going to stay hot. And like I said, you're going to give me points. I'm taking the Bears all day long.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the lines now again, and yeah, it's still about the same line. So, listen, I said it, I think last week, the Bears have to be the least respected 5-1 team, maybe in NFL history. Sorry to say that, Chicago guys. They are winning ugly for sure, but this is the Monday night game, back-to-back primetime games for the Rams. They didn't really look good against the Niners last week. I have to agree with you, John. It seems like too many points with the Bears. They play a lot of defense, and I'll sign off on that one for you for sure.
All right, I'm getting better, huh, Krack?
Yeah, no.
But then I'm gonna blow it. Can put everything in parlays and blow it and cry you a river again.
Yeah. So exactly. Now, perfect example is you may win 2 out of 3 of these where you should win money betting them straight, but maybe you'll put them in a parlay and you'll lose and you'll say, man, just missed by 1.
Can I bet them all in a parlay and then take them individually, or does that?
Yeah, no, you could do that.
In a bankroll management issues.
Yeah, no, you could. I mean, listen, you could put them in a round robin where you go 2s and 3s. You can hope to win 2 out of 3 and like break even, or even win a little money with your dog if that comes out on the money line. So yeah, I have no problem with that. But I bet less on the parlay. I would bet less on the parlay than I do on the straight.
Okay. Fair enough. A couple other games that people are talking about. Thursday's game, we've got 2 bad teams that are still fighting in that horrible division that they're in. We got the Giants at the Eagles. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, Eagle fans, I love you guys. You're hardcore. Probably the toughest fan base out there. I mean, you guys, I'm sorry you're known for this, but you guys throw snowballs at Santa Claus. Ugh. But so I remember that during the Eagle game. Listen, a sharp group actually came in, a sharp group that I respect came in and bet that was all over the Giants opening number +6. The line moved down to like 3.5, 4. As even more money came in on the Giants side. Again, there was 2 waves of Giant money that came in here. So I have to be real blunt. If this game moves to 3, the value is probably on the other side of the game. So you may just want to pass on this one.
Okay. All right. And how about with Green Bay and the Texans? I am addicted to betting on the Texans. I have to tell you, I've been that way for a few years now because they always seem to be the dog and they can deliver.
Yeah, I had them a couple times this year. I think I put them on my selections, and I'm in a lot of big contests here in town. I have been unlucky with them in my contest picks. So, listen, Green Bay looked actually mortal last week against the public favorite this year, Tampa Bay. They really did. That's a good word for them because, everyone thought they were just rolling with that big offense. And now. So anyway, the Texans are now sitting at 1-5, lost another close one in overtime. It's just shake your head. That locker room just can't be too fun after this team had a lot of preseason thoughts of getting there, of being there. They thought they were going to be headed to the playoff run. So Rodgers and the Packers looked like they could cover any spread the first month. But since last week was ugly, this sharp group that I know felt that the -3 was the right side also here, and they actually put some money. You may be able to still get -3, like -1/4 or something, but some sharp money came in on the sides. And here I'm saying on one side that NFL sides are almost unbeatable, and here the sharp groups are still betting, the sharp group or 2, still betting NFL sides. Early in the week, though, they're betting Monday morning, so they're getting the best of it and getting some value, closing line value for sure, especially on that Giant game where it moves 2.5 points.
All right, good. That's good stuff, Bill. Listen, so last week we told our audience at home, if you had any questions for us, to hit up on Twitter, Instagram, over at WSN, wherever you can find us. Send us your questions, and the people have spoken. They have spoken, Krack. I got the same. I was looking through the inbox here on Twitter and Instagram. I see the same question. I'm not kidding you, Krack, 20 or 30 times. So I'm going to ask the one question. I won't say who asked it because it was asked by many. They are all asking for, can the Krack man give us a free parlay?
Oh God.
I know, yeah. Krack. What do we say to these people? What do we say? They're action junkies. They can't help it.
Yeah, no, I know. And I hate to ruin anyone's party, but especially your parlay party. Listen, I really don't bet parlays, but I will bet them on certain sports. This is going to shock you here. I'll bet overnight parlays if I know I'm getting the best of the line by the time the game starts. So, and I'm more talking basketball here, college basketball. I'll bet some overnight parlays. Listen, if I know I'm taking 3 points on 3 games, and tomorrow all 3 games are going to move in my favor, maybe down to 1.5, 2. I have the best of it, so I will put them in some parlays. But it's very, very rare that I actually bet a parlay, even in college basketball. I really don't do that often, only if I know the games are going to be moving. So I don't recommend no parlays, guys. So I have none for you. I apologize.
All right, no problem, Krack. That's okay. Which leads me to remind our audience at home, listen, guys, download the KrackWins app. It's the Bible. I keep telling you this, and I mean every word of it. It's going to change your betting life, okay? It's got strategies, tips, picks, obviously tons of articles. They update it all the time. Download the KrackWins app. It's on Apple. It's on Google. Go get it.
Thanks. Yeah, we're gonna have. Listen, college basketball is only a couple short weeks away. I can't wait. But yeah, and NFL. I put out a lot of totals to the KrackWins guys. I put out a lot of props, and we're holding our own for the year. Absolutely.
All right. Well, Krack, the time has come. It's over, Krack. It's over this week. But we'll be back next week. That's the good news.
Hey, I have a last minute question here from one of our mutual friends. Not only is it our mutual friend, it's the guy that introduced Jon Orlando to Bill Krackomberger. Former UFC fighter, champion Jake Ellenberger, he asked me a question. And I just said, can I use that on our podcast this week? He asked, hey, if I wanted to place a large bet in town, where should I place that bet? Well, real simple. And, I'm always going to tell you what I feel about sports books, or I don't feel. I have some history going back and forth with sports books, not wanting to take my bet or throwing me out or only taking $100. The opposite here for the Circa Sportsbook, downtown Las Vegas, opening up in a few short weeks. This is going to be fantastic. And they're the only go-to sports book for the giant bet here. So that I can think of offhand, Circa Sports, unbelievable place. I would bet there. If I'm looking to bet big money, they're looking to take big money.
I love it. And Ellenberger's got big money, Krack. He's got big money.
Yeah,
he's a saver.
He can buy and sell us many times over.
All right, fair enough. Krack, this was a blast, and I look forward to seeing you and all of you next week. Please be sure to subscribe to WSN on YouTube so you can be sure to catch our show. Give us a little like in the comments section. Let us know what you think of the show, and we will see you next week.